Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Noodle Journey. Today I'll be reviewing one of the most popular vegan noodle options out there, Nongshim's Soon Veggie Noodle Soup. I do go through a lot of spicy meat-based soups here, so I thought it would be nice to go for a mild, vegan-friendly option that's pretty easy to find in the USA. Vegans deserve some good noodle options, and I try to be mindful of that when doing a review. And this particular one gets a lot of high praise on the internet, and so I thought it was way past time to check this one off the list. My regular viewers know how much I love Nongshim products, and so I don't have anything new to say about their brand other than I hope this turns out good. Now this is pretty easy to find at your local Asian market or for around $10 for a 4-pack online, and these have even started popping up in American supermarket chains as well, so check your local Super Walmart or whatever you have nearby. There is also a cup version of this for roughly the same price, which may or may not have more vegetables in it. I'm not sure of the difference. And there is also a kimchi cup variant that I do have waiting to review. If you'd all like to see a separate review of the cup version of this one, let me know and I'll buy one in case there's something unique about it. Now, as with most of these Nongshim pillow packs, they claim to have 2 servings per container in here, so that is 1,630 milligrams of sodium or 71% of your daily allowance. Not terrible compared to some others, but it's also not surprising because, let's face it, vegetables taste better with salt. Now inside we've got a round block of your normal excellent Nongshim noodles. We've got a powdered soup base and a vegetable packet. Now the vegetable packet, according to the ingredients, is choy sum or green choy, which is a Chinese cabbage, along with carrot and green onion. And this is kind of small. I was hoping for more vegetables in a vegetable soup, you know? The soup base contains your usual assortment of Korean soup spices and seasoning, but without any of the meat or seafood extract found in some of the other Nongshim products. And funny enough, although this is labeled mild here on the front, there is chili pepper in the ingredients here. And if doing this channel for this long has taught me anything about Korean noodles, I'm going to guess that this is one of those situations where this is still actually spicy to us Westerners, but mild by Korean standards. So let's find out and get this cooking. All right, and here is the final product. There is a pretty decent vegetable forward smell coming off of this. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Knorr's vegetable soup mixes. Very comforting smell. Also, to Nongshim's credit, the vegetable pack actually did rehydrate into something larger than the pack would have you think. It's not as bad as I thought it was. Okay, time to dig in. All right, noodles first. These are your typical chewy, plump goodness from Nongshim. I said this before with the Shin Green variety, but the fried oil smell that you usually get from these noodles is apparent, but it works very well with the soup base. So excellent as always, 8 out of 10 for the noodles. Now the spice level, yeah, I was right. This is not mild like the packaging says, at least not by an American palate. But I think it's pretty tame, honestly, and I'm not just saying that as a spice-tolerant person. I really think this is just a nice zing that most of you should be able to handle unless you're completely 100% uncomfortable with any spice at all. I think this warrants a 2.5 out of 10 for spiciness. And now for the overall flavor of this, it's a little hard to describe, mainly because it's such a blend of vegetables that it's hard to isolate any particular one. Let me get out of the way first that it is pretty tasty and savory, but it does come off as salty. It's kind of like a thin mushroom stock with some extra onion and root vegetable flavor mixed in. There's definitely some cabbage here, more than likely coming from the choy sum, and it's hard to tell if there was any additional cabbage flavor already in the broth mix. Beyond that, there's some nice umami from the soy sauce, a little pinch of garlic flavor. I always wish there was more, but it's good. and there's a little whisper of ginger that I might not have noticed if I didn't see it in the ingredients first. So it's really just a nice comforting blend of earthy, bright vegetable goodness. Now, if you're not typically a veggie person, you might not really appreciate it so much, but if you love your vegetables, you're going to find this to be a good blend of flavors. It's really not that far off from something like Nongshim's Shin Ramen, but this just doesn't have that beefiness or spice level. And of course, it's vegan, so it's pretty much guilt-free. Like I was saying before, the amount of dried flakes in this is kind of medium. I might have hoped for a little more, but it's not as stingy as I originally thought it would be now that everything rehydrated. So I guess the only other downside of this pack besides the amount of dried veggies is that it doesn't hide the sodium content very well. Like I said, it does come off as pretty salty, which is just something you need to enhance the flavor of the vegetable ingredients. So to give this an overall score, I enjoyed it. I think it's a good blank slate for adding your own ingredients, but is able to stand on its own as a good vegetable soup. And so I think it's worth a 7 out of 10 overall. Definitely worth a repurchase, even if it's not as fancy as I had hoped. If you're vegan or just looking for a different kind of instant noodle from the usual meaty ones, then this is a good recommendation to try. It's very easy to find, it is chock full of flavor, and it's a perfect soup base to dress up with whatever other fresh veggies or proteins you might have on hand. I've seen a lot of people hype this one up, and it mostly lives up to that hype. I think Nongshim's recent Shin Green is a little more impressive as a vegan product, but this is a more accessible flavor profile in my opinion. Now, the other Korean noodle companies have their own spins on this kind of vegetable soup, like Otogi's Jin Veggie and Samyang's Veggie Tasty. And so if I find them or anything else like this in the future, you can bet I'll film a review to compare to this. And until that day comes, I've got some other cool stuff coming up to review, both vegan and not so vegan. And so I hope you'll hit that like button and subscribe button and join me on the next episode of Noodle Journey.